And I'll give the floor to the Ambassador of...
Thank you, Madam President, for giving me the floor. Madam President, 5 years after the adoption of Security Council Resolution 2474, we gather here today to reflect on our collective progress and renew our commitment to preventing and addressing the tragic phenomenon of missing persons in armed conflict. Sri Lanka stands in solidarity with those affected and is dedicated to the implementation of measures that ensure no family endures the pain of uncertainty regarding their loved ones. This resolution has also significantly advanced our efforts in addressing the fate of missing persons in armed conflict and providing a crucial framework for member states to enhance protection measures and ensure accountability. But it is also imperative that we reflect on our progress and identify areas where our collective action must intensify. Madam Chair, the unprecedented rise, as it was referred to earlier today, in reported cases of missing persons, with over 40,000 new cases registered by the ICRC in 2023 alone, underscores, I say, the urgent need for robust and proactive action. Preventing and responding to persons going missing in the course of armed conflict requires a comprehensive approach involving legal, operational, and humanitarian measures. The United Nations and its member states can implement various strategies to address this issue effectively, and let me highlight some important measures. First of all, needless to say, we need to ensure strict adherence to international humanitarian law and human rights law, including the Geneva Conventions, which obligates parties to the conflict to account for missing persons. We need to set up national commissions or offices dedicated to searching for missing persons, managing information, and coordinating efforts with international bodies. Maintain detailed records of individuals, including combatants and civilians involved in conflict. Develop and deploy forensic capabilities to identify remains and investigate mass graves using DNA analysis and other methods to match missing persons with recovered bodies. We need to facilitate safe and unhindered access to humanitarian organizations to conflict zones to provide assistance and search for missing persons. We need to deploy, I say, specialist search and rescue teams to conflict areas to locate and assist missing persons, engage local communities in search efforts, and provide them with resources and training to safely participate in locating missing persons. We need to provide services, and we can provide services, to help families trace missing relatives, including hotlines, online databases, and in-person assistance. Conduct campaigns to raise awareness about the issue of missing persons in conflict and the obligations of parties under international law. We need to advocate for the rights of missing persons. We can establish centralized databases to collect and manage data on missing persons, ensuring it is accessible to the relevant stakeholders. We can develop and implement training programs for military personnel, law enforcement, and humanitarian workers on best practices for preventing and responding to disappearances. And finally, to provide technical and financial support to states and organizations to build their capacity in forensic identification, data management, and humanitarian responses. Madam Chair, by implementing some of these measures, the UN and its member states can, we believe, significantly enhance its ability to prevent disappearances during armed conflict and ensure a coordinated and effective response when people go missing. In May of 2016, Madam Chair, Sri Lanka's cabinet approved proposals to create an office on missing persons to assist families seeking information about missing persons, including victims of alleged enforced disappearances, those missing in the context of the conflict in connection with political unrest or disturbance. A bill to establish an Office of Missing Persons was put in place in 2016 and subsequently made law in the same year, establishing the Commission, which has effectively engaged with its mandate. Later, the Cabinet of Ministers approved the national policy to provide durable solutions to persons displaced by conflict that attempts to address these issues. Madam President, we appreciate that any policy that seeks to address this issue must articulate a guarantee to internationally recognized human rights of persons affected by displacement and promote measures to address the immediate, medium, and long-term needs for protection and assistance sans discriminatory approaches. Madam Chair, it must seek to ensure the public participation in policy-making coordination between institutions and agencies working for the displaced, development of mechanisms for redress and grievances to identify urgent priorities. Sri Lanka, Madam Chair, is committed to this humanitarian mechanism and would support and adopt the best practices within our own capacity and competencies. I thank you.
Je remercie le collègue.
I thank our colleague from Sri Lanka and